Cool, and welcome back to today's live stream. I hope we're all doing well, and I hope you guys are excited as I am for today's live stream. I'm going to be joined by two amazing and special guests. If you know of my channel, you probably know of these girls' channels. And yeah, I'm going to quickly, without further ado, switch to the interview scene where they will introduce themselves and tell us who they are, what they're doing, etc. Guys, can you hear that, or was that just me with the feedback?
I just heard it, yeah.
Oh, I think it's gone
but
now.
It's gone now.
Cool. Yeah, do you want to just introduce yourselves? How have you been and who are you?
Hello, everyone. Well, my name is Hazar. I am one half of Journey2Med, and then we've also got
Hazar. I thought I was introducing myself.
Go on.
But my name is Liddy, and I'm the other half of Journey2Med, and we're just a YouTube page, and we discuss things like academia, lifestyle stuff, and vlogs as well.
Cool. And Hazar,
you
can finally have your turn.
Yeah, our channel covers everything that you need to know about the medical application process, basically, except the Bmac, because we don't really want to talk about that. And then we've got A-level advice, GCSE advice, and then a lot of insight into medicine as well. And yeah, and we attend Barts as well. I don't know if Lily said that.
Yes.
But yeah, make sure you guys go subscribe to Journey2Med.
Go subscribe. After this live stream, stay for the live stream though. But yeah, if you're interested in their channel, I'll put the link to their channel and their Instagram page as well in the description bar below, so you can go and follow that. And so before I guess we start answering all the questions that have been flooding in, I guess we can just talk about our general medicine experiences. This live stream is a general medicine one, so we can talk about everything and anything to do with our experiences, getting to uni and at uni. So you guys both go to the Barts and The London. Was that always your dream university? And how have your experiences been there? Hazal, you can go first this time because Liddy really interrupted. Joking.
Me and Liddy both attend Barts and The London, which is the medical division of Queen Mary University of London. And for me, I never really had a dream university, which is kind of weird. Actually, in GCSEs, I always wanted to go Imperial, but I didn't even end up applying there. But anyway, I never really had a dream university. But I applied to Queen Mary, King's, Cambridge, and Nottingham. I don't even know why I applied to Nottingham. That was such a last-minute decision. But the other three, I would be happy if I went there. And Cambridge was top of the list, just because Cambridge is Cambridge. I don't really need to go into detail about that. But then, got interview offers from all of them, and then got actual offers from Queen Mary, King's, and Nottingham. So I got rejected by Cambridge. And yeah, it was a bit hard at first, because it was because in my academic journey, I hadn't really faced rejection before. I got GCSEs that I was happy with. I got AS results that I was happy with. So I hadn't faced rejection yet. So that was a big stepping stone in my academic journey. And I'm happy it happened, because I think I wouldn't have been as happy in Cambridge as I am at Barts. And yeah, now I'm at Barts. And it's been all right. First year's been all right. Obviously, COVID did change a lot of things. I did go into university with a few expectations that were not met, but overall, I'm really happy with my course. I think the course structure really suits my way of learning, and the social life's all right.
It's all right.
But it's all right. Yeah, that's about it. Really. There's nothing special about it. What do you think, Liddy?
Obviously I go Barts as well, and my journey into medicine itself, of course, there's always going to be challenges within it. One of my main challenges was finding work experience, which I found very difficult, and also knowing where to apply, because I actually didn't do A-level chemistry. So there was a period of time where I thought I couldn't do medicine, as I would remember I planning to take a gap year, do chemistry at a college, and then apply. But with all things, it's just research and determination. So that's what allowed me to get work experience eventually and find universities that would make me and find universities that will take me without chemistry. So I was able to apply to Med eventually. So Barts and London in itself, I've enjoyed the course thoroughly, especially the early patient contact. I think we're actually lucky to have that. Because it's taught me a lot that you can't learn from lectures. I've met some pretty nice people in my cohort, and I've had some pretty nice experiences as well. Of course, to everything there are negatives, but I'm quite an optimistic person, so I try not to focus on that. But I do think the social life is so dead at Barts in the London, like it's crap. Like, if you want me to. So if that's one of your main priorities, you might want to keep that in mind when applying. And I do think that the medical school could give medical students more opportunities. I feel like they do make an effort with like essay competitions and things like that, but I do think that we could get more opportunities as well. The cohort, for me, I didn't really vibes with them as much. We're just different people, I think, and I feel like a lot of people in my cohort came across a bit immature, and I wasn't willing to kind of like change myself just to fit in with everyone, and I think that's really important when going into medical school. But overall, it was all right, and I definitely don't regret my decision to go to Barts and The London out of my 4 options.
Nice. That was a nice kind of like summary of your experiences applying to university and actually getting into university. Before we kind of progress, just apologies to everyone watching this live stream. I know that the quality of some of the footage is a bit compromised and a bit lower. I think the reason being is because of my BT internet, which is absolute garbage, and also the fact that I'm live streaming with 2 other people, so something to do with my internet bandwidth, I don't know. But yeah, kind of to pick up on what you guys both said individually, Hazal, I think it's quite interesting how you spoke about how, although you ideally wanted to go to Cambridge, which a lot of people watching my channel may want to do, you didn't end up getting an offer from there, but you think you might not have been as happy there as you are now in Barts and The London. And I could kind of from Oxford, although it's not Cambridge, I can kind of see how that could have been a possibility, because during my whole first year it was definitely challenging in so many ways, in the sense that not only is it like incredibly academically demanding, but it's just it's a strange place. Let me not even lie, it's very strange, and I found myself feeling a lot of imposter syndrome and just feeling very alienated, and that kind of shaped a lot of my first year experience. Thank God that I met the most, although I didn't meet many, I met few but quality friends, and like we're gonna be friends for life. But yeah, it's interesting to see how like Lydia's just like it's interesting to see how kind of regardless of which med school you end up at, you can make the best of that situation. And the nice thing about medicine is like regardless of where you end up at, you're going to qualify as a doctor with a degree accredited by the GMC. Cool. Right, guys, if you have any questions on what Hazal and Liddy said about student life, applying to university, medicine in general, make sure to send them in, and we'll try our best to get through every single one of them. That's going to be my aim for this live stream. Right, first question to answer. And Hazal, you've just disappeared. Where you gone?
I'm here. Hello.
Oh, we can't see your camera. You might want
camera's on.
You might want to like disconnect and then like connect again, and it'll be fine. We can just add it in a second. And like in the meanwhile, Liddy, you can answer this question sent in by Creator's Daughter, who asked, would you recommend buying a stethoscope now or when I'm in med school? This is quite like a specific question, but yeah.
I think if you're an aspiring medic like year 12 etc, I don't think you need to buy a stethoscope at all. Like it just shouldn't be one of your main priorities right now. If you've gotten your offer and you're on your way to medical school, like you're starting in September, then yes, invest in a stethoscope, because it's always useful to having clinical skills. I made that mistake of not getting a stethoscope in first year, and I had to like share stethoscopes with people during clinical sessions, which just isn't for me. So I'd strongly suggest purchasing one. However, I don't believe that for a lot of universities there will be clinical sessions until January, so you might want to wait until then. But definitely buy one if you've gotten an offer, you're on your way to enter medical school, the offer is secure, you've gotten the grades and everything. During that summer, that period of time, get it. But if you're an aspiring medic still applying, it's too early, in my opinion.
And kind of to like, we could kind of extrapolate this question, because although it's like a specific one about whether you should buy a stethoscope or not, we could also talk about like how with different kind of med schools, you may not need it in the first couple of years. For example, at my med school, we don't have that much clinical contact first couple of years because we have a pre-clinical school and clinical school. So far in my experiences, have I even touched the stethoscope? Have I touched? I know I have touched a stethoscope when you learn how to take blood pressure. I was just thinking, like, have I even, but yeah, we don't need a stethoscope. But if you were to kind of buy one, or you wanted to buy one, that's like absolutely fine. Because I feel as though it makes, like, for me, if I had a stethoscope, it would remind me of like where I'm going to be in a couple years time, and you could almost use that as a source of motivation when you're trying to get through those hard periods of study. Look at the stethoscope, and it reminds you that in a couple of years time you're going to be a qualified doctor. But yeah, if you're going to med school such as the Barts and The London, where you have clinical contact early on, maybe try and invest on one early when you know that you've got an offer and you're about to start med school. Cool. Hazal, do you have anything to add, or should we go on to the next question?
Yeah, I think just like talking about which ones to buy, if you guys want to invest in one that's going to be like long term and it's good quality, I would recommend buying the Lippmann ones. Obviously there's cheaper ones out there, but I was told by a lot of older students, because I didn't know which one to buy, and I was told by a lot of older students that, you know, it's a good quality one that will last throughout your medical school and also into like your junior years. So yeah,
stethoscopes are expensive, aren't they? They're like, some go up to like 200, 300. How much was yours?
My one was just under 100, I think.
Okay, that's affordable, because £300. Listen, I can't afford that.
It's a long-term investment, I think. You know, you're going to keep it for a long time, so why not? But honestly, they are expensive.
£300 is a bit of too much of an investment. But
honestly, for me, that's definitely a student finance investment for me, because my bank account could never.
Oh, 100%.
100%. No one ever that.
Right, next question sent in by Creator's Daughter. This is a really good one. Do medics at our universities tend to stick together? I think in terms of like our friendship circles.
Yes, I think they do it a bit too much, in the sense that I feel like it's important to spread yourself and like have friends outside of medicine, because the more people you meet with different experiences, the more experiences you get, the more you grow. So if you stick to just medics, you will eventually get overwhelmed with, you know, just being around the same type of people all the time. When you're with medical students too much, without realizing it, your conversations might repeat sometimes. Oh, have you done that lecture? Are you ready for this exam? Yes. You know, you might want to just speak to someone outside of that bubble. It's so useful, especially for me. I was trying to run away from my cohort, so I wasn't trying to
spill the tea, sis. Spill the tea. What's the tea? Why are you running away?
What? Oh, like I mentioned earlier, you know, there's just some slight immaturity with my cohort. For example, a lecturer would still be speaking, and if the lecturer goes like 5 minutes over the allocated time, they start clapping while the lecturer is still talking to initiate the lecturer. Your time is done. That is just so immature. Of course, I'm not writing off the whole cohort, but it's a majority. So automatically, that's just like, you know, that was a repellent from me. It's not me being a skeptic person, because honestly, I'm so social, and most of the time I'm an extrovert, but I don't like forcing, you know, connections and knowing people and stuff like that. So yeah, I just prefer people outside of my cohort. I get along better with them, and it's nice to get away from that medic bubble, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And Hazal, what kind of your thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of agree, and especially because I stayed in accommodation, and at Barts, you're put into like accommodation with medics and dentists. So like all I was ever hearing was, you know, medic talk, and all the conversations were about work. All the banter was about medicine. Like it gets. The only time I guess I liked it was during like exam season, where it was nice to know that, you know, we were all in the same place. Because if I was in a room with if I was in accommodation with like historians and, I don't know, like politics students who didn't have an exam coming up, for example, I might have felt like alone because I didn't have anyone to share my experiences with. But other than that, like I don't need to go into my room and still be doing like hearing work talk. So yeah, it was quite I don't know, almost draining, but
you know what? That's quite interesting that you said that you'd like to be amongst medics, like in exam season, because I'm the exact opposite. For me, I want to be far away from medics during exam season, especially days leading up to it, because it's so stress inducing, especially when they start talking about, oh, you know, metabolism, enzyme kinetics, did you know that equation? And you're just like, I've never heard of this equation in my life. Honestly, it just induces so much unnecessary stress on me. But guys, I relate to both of you, like in terms of kind of you need some space where medicine is not in that space, if that makes sense. You need some medicine free space, and I feel as though naturally medics will gravitate towards each other, because as a department in itself, our lectures are just so separated. We have so many more contact hours. So as medics, we tend to spend more time with other medics. And that's the same at Oxford. I feel as though with our collegiate system, so for those of you who don't know, Oxford's separated into different colleges. We have like 39, 40. It means that we interact more with people from other kind of disciplines and subjects. For example, with my accommodation, literally no one in my, actually there was another boy in my staircase did medicine at Brasenose, so like naturally I made friends with people from other subjects, and we get married. Okay, this is going to be a tangent, but we have these things called we have these things called college families and marriages. So when you go to Oxford or Cambridge, and I think Durham does this, so it's not just an Oxbridge thing, you get assigned parents, and within the first term you also get to continue the tradition and marry people, and it's like in the most platonic, non-actually romantic way possible. You just marry your friends basically, and I married my two best friends, and one does geography and the other one does law, and they're the people that I spend the most time with. And I found that having a separate space for going to lectures and speaking about medicine to then me chilling was so refreshing, because when I came from a stressful day, a 9 to 1 day of lectures, just pure lectures, I knew that I could go back to my accommodation, go back to my room, and like oh okay, everyone's go back to my accommodation, go back to my room, and I wouldn't have to be further plunged into that stress, and I could speak about something that was unrelated to medicine. I think Hazal's disappeared again.
I can see her.
Maybe it's just my laptop. Hazal, of course you can see yourself. To be fair, I think it's just my laptop, but we'll just kind of go with the flow. Do we have anything else to add before we move on to the next question?
No,
that's not it.
Cool. Right, the next question sent in by lol hello asks, what is the Ucat and what is the Bmac? Okay, these are now we're getting into the topics. We're getting into the topics here.
Yeah. I'll get started if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
So they're both admissions tests that are like that you need to sit at least one of to apply to universities within the UK. There's a specific list of universities that require the Ucat, and then there's a specific list of universities that require the Bmac. You don't need to sit both. Like you can only sit one and still apply for universities. And the setup of the Ucat is a bit more different to the Bmac. The Bmac is a bit more academic, I would say, because the first section is like English-y, like stuff like that, and then the second section is like biology, chemistry, maths, physics, and then the last section is an essay. And then with the Ucat, we've got 5 sections. So verbal reasoning, which is like English, quantitative reasoning, which is maths, abstract reasoning, which is shapes, and that's the best way I can explain it. Decision making, which is like problem solving, and then situational judgment test, which is like ethics. So it's a bit more like there's no science, I guess, which is what differs it from the Bmac. And they also have like a different scoring system, but depending on your score, different universities might have like a cut score that they require, and usually the higher your score, the more likely you are to get an interview. But that's not always the case, because a lot of universities look at your application holistically, and not just at one, like, admissions test. But I think that's how I can, wrap it up.
Yeah, that was definitely a really good summary. Oh, carry on.
Yeah.
So one more thing, you have the choice to sit the Ucat from start of July to start of July to start of October. It's like a big window, and with the Bmac there's 2 sittings, September sitting and a end of October / start of November sitting. And with the Ucat you get your results straight away as soon as you come out of the room. Bmac you need to wait. Your results are sent off to your uni and you'll get emailed it a couple weeks later, I think.
Yeah, I guess in a sense the tests they're different but they're similar in a sense, especially for section 1 of the Bmac, which I always say is the whole of the Ucat but just on steroids, because it's the sections that test your cognitive reasoning, your mental reasoning, and I always found them challenging, but it's definitely with both of the tests you can prepare for them by just doing practice. And a quick opportunity to plug these 2 girls here, because honestly guys, if you probably have already seen their Ucat series if you're sitting it this year, but they made a fantastic series of, I think it's 9, there's 9 Ucat videos that you've made this year. You made 7, I don't know, but check it out. Again, I'll put it in the description bar below. They make very succinct, very concise 5-6 minute videos on each one of the sections and how to just slay the game completely. So if you've got your Ucat upcoming, definitely check that out. Yeah. Right, next question sent in by lol hello again, asks, how did you overcome your fears of med school? So I guess before answering that question, we can just quick fire. What were some of your fears before starting med school? My one was, I thought everyone would just be super genius, super smart, no social skills, just books, academic books. What about you guys?
Yeah, like robots, they just don't know how to socialize.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought I'd fail. I just didn't want to fail medical school. I thought I'd fail an exam and just get kicked out.
Content would be extremely challenging, on a very, very high level, and it was a 9 to 5 every single day, no break. Yeah, I think that's and I thought I'd always be the stupidest one in the room, and I was just so dumb.
Same.
Just fit in and almost be laughed at by the other students.
Yeah, and obviously I went uni with my best friend that I thought we'd stop being friends by the end of the year.
Really?
Something happened.
Liddy, you can't say things like this without spilling the tea. You keep doing this. You keep saying juicy headlines. Why?
No, there's no tea. I just think when friends go uni, it's always, I feel for a lot of people, it's always a feel oh my god, they might find people they get along better with and go and fly and spread their wings. So it happens with a lot of people. It's not tea. I think it's a general thing.
I think they're good though. I think so.
Hello, wow. How's your friendship now that you finished first year in comparison to start of first year? Stronger, weaker?
Stronger. Yeah, stronger.
I love how Hazal waited for Liddy to say her answer.
Yeah.
I had to think about it to make sure I gave an honest answer. But yeah, I think if you can get through medicine together, that's why I feel friends you make in medical school and that you continue getting on with through second year, third year, you've been through hell together.
That's the thing.
How are you going? You've been together at your lowest. If I knew I was going through it, mental breakdown, Liddy, I can't. And it's nice to have someone that knows exactly what you're going through. You don't have to explain, this is why I feel like this is why they just get it. And that's why I think medics form such a strong community, because the degree is so demanding. And if you find people you get on with outside of medicine, and then you get on with medical talk, what more do you need? So I think if you find you said, your friends as well, if you find people you chill with and they get you on an academic level and a social level, it's a win-win.
Honestly, med school was mad because there were so many. there was a lot of lows, more lows than I'd ever experienced in my life. And going through it with other medics who are experiencing it as well, and seeing everyone at their lows, you just form some sort of strange connection, like, because you've seen each other at their lowest points. Like, I'm talking my hair falling out, staying up till 3 a.m, caffeine, like shots in the morning, just mad lows. But at the same time, you go through the highs as well together. What were you saying, Hazal?
Yeah. Hazal, was you saying something?
Oh, I just said I never used to drink coffee, and I'm a bit of an addict now. So medicine.
Oh, no.
First year, really.
You went to the dark side.
I went to the dark side.
Yeah.
I heard this thing. It was like, I don't know how appropriate this is. It was like medical students either become caffeine addicts or, you know, recreational drug addicts. So I'm happy I'm on this side.
Yeah,
anyway.
Thanks, Hazal. You just got my live stream demonetized. What is? No, I'm joking. No, but honestly, I've actually, you know what? I've actually seen that in university. It's not even med school, just university in general. You either go one of two ways. Wow.
Yeah, definitely. And it's scary because it's kind of like you have this freedom you've never had before, and it makes people go crazy. So I think if you're going medical school, wherever you're going, like, just be you and be cautious of what you're getting yourself involved in, and try your best not to just follow the trend and do something in the name of popularity, because some of these things are really dangerous and can have really bad side effects. You will see all these other people around you doing drugs and they're fine, but you never know, the minute you do it, it might be the day where you have some serious side effects.
Yeah, wisely said.
Yeah. Just to add on to that, the best advice I can give if you're going to uni is just don't do stuff that you're not comfortable with. I know people just say don't give into peer pressure, but genuinely, like, I've seen so many people change and just go down a different path. And it's like, going to uni doesn't need to change your personality. Going to uni doesn't need to change your identity. Going to uni doesn't need to change your morals. Like, you don't need to, it's just the classic, you know, in drugs, all of that. You don't need to go into that lifestyle if you don't want to. But if you want to, like, you can go down it, but that doesn't mean you need to go be crazy and just do the most that you wouldn't usually. I
think
so
the key
just
word...
be careful.
Sorry, I interrupted you there.
You just taken advantage of, like, by the people around you. Don't let them influence you to a point where you're not you anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say the key word is definitely moderation. And with university, it's all about not compromising who you are, because going to university is a scary thing. You go from a school of, my school was like 70 sixth formers, that really small, close-knit environment, and you go to a university over 10,000 students, and that can seem quite intimidating. And I guess one of my fears of med school, just university in general, was that I wasn't going to find the people who were like me. I wasn't going to find my squad, and that's a natural fear that every student has, because you're moving on to a new phase of life that you've never experienced before. But honestly, guys, don't compromise on your values, and I can assure you that by the end of first term, even if it takes a year, you will still find the people who you can say that they're your close friends, because you haven't compromised on your values. You've stayed true to who you are. You haven't been peer pressured into doing things that just aren't you, and you found people who relate to you authentically. Honestly, like, I can testify to feeling a bit peer pressured to do so and so during my first year. That's a whole other tea for another video, but yeah, I'm sure we're all the same here. Like, done things that I'm not proud of, but I say I don't regret it, because it's definitely in the name of character building, and it's made me a better version of myself, because I can go into second year being able to identify mistakes I made in first year and avoid them.
Yeah.
So definitely excited for second year.
100%. I feel like it's so important as well. And one thing I just want to touch on is, like, there are different versions of living your best life. Living your best life doesn't have to be what, you know, this generation sees on social media of partying and alcohol. If you don't want to do that, you can still live your best life. It doesn't make you boring. It doesn't make you diluted. You can still be you, still have a banging personality, and just choose not to take that route, or not to allow that to be your definition of living your best life. So I think it's so important to define things for yourself and not allow those around you to define it for you.
100%. 100%. Hazal, you've disappeared again.
Oh.
I think it's my laptop. I think it's my... Okay, you've came back again. Okay, there she is. Guys, I'm really, really sorry for this show that I'm putting on. Like, my laptop's actually moving mad.
It's okay. It's like everything's virtual, like everyone's facing it, so it's totally fine.
Cool. Honestly, the amount of like virtual fails that I've seen is just so funny. Like, I remember we were having like it wasn't a Zoom call, it was like a Microsoft Teams call, and like one of like the staff members, like I think he forgot to turn his camera off. And no, he didn't do anything dodgy, but it was just, you know, when you're not your professional self and you're just like very raw almost. It was just, I had to end real quick. It was towards the end of the meeting, but yeah, I've seen some mad Zoom fails. Guys, in the comment section, comment below if you've seen like what's been the funniest virtual or Zoom fail that you've experienced over lockdown. I know a lot of you have had virtual school or university. Let us know in the comment section. Right, moving on to the next question, which was sent in by lol hello, and they ask any books that we could recommend to read for medical school interviews. I think they either mean to prepare for interviews or to speak about in the interviews. I guess we can answer both questions.
I read one book for like just before medical school, and that was direct. It was called Direct Red. I can't remember the author, but I decided not to mention it in my personal statement and not to bring it up because I feel like, in my opinion, mentioning the book is a bit risky because they can ask you about the book and you need to, like, obviously, I'm not saying I would have lied, but I just feel like under pressure, I feel like I wouldn't be able to talk about the book properly. So I just choose to not mention it. So that's the only book I read, but I didn't even mention it. So I haven't really got any recommendations on like books to read. But interview books, The Knowledge, as in interview prep book, was really good. That's the one I used and it helps me so much. That's the one me and Liddy both used.
Is that called The Knowledge?
Yeah, The Knowledge.
Nice. Okay.
It's like a white face kind of thing.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. I've never heard of that one. What kind of form was it? Was it like questions, or did it give like advice for how to compose and answer questions in interview?
What was it, Liddy?
It literally gave you small bits of information you had to know. To an extent, it is a bit outdated, but I would still buy it today. And that is just because of the way it explains stuff. It has really good practice questions. It's so succinct and small. Like, it just gets straight to the point. No waffling, no stressful information. Some of the information is outdated. For example, how NHS is funded and commissioning groups and all of that. So you do need to be cautious of it, but I do think despite that, it puts everything you have to know for an interview together. How does the NHS run? The keywords you need to understand, such as competency, is it 4 ethical pictures?
Yeah.
Is how to use it and so on. The knowledge is just perfect and literally
questions like specific questions, normal questions, ethical questions. I thought it was really good. Yeah.
Wow, I wish I heard about this before I did interviews, because not gonna lie, I just winged all my interviews. Like, to be fair, because I prepared for them, but like in terms of like finding specific books to help me prepare for interviews, I didn't really know about many. I just really used YouTube as a resource of preparation, and there were a lot of really good YouTube videos where they actually do mock interviews and they sit down. They're probably current students or actors, and they show you what good examples of questions, of answers are, and what poor examples of answers are. And I would reflect, I would kind of see how my answer would compare to the answers that were poor or good. In terms of books, books I included in my personal statement, I read probably 3 to 5, but I only ended up including one of the books in my personal statement. And one thing to say is that don't rush to include thousands of books in your personal statement, because exactly as Hazal said, you don't want to be put in that situation where, although you've read the book, because of the whole pressure of the interview and because you read it a while ago, you can't remember or come up with a good enough answer. So unless you're really confident with that book, don't feel the pressure to put it in, for sure. I only mentioned mine because it linked to something else that I was speaking about in my personal statement paragraph, and I was actually asked about it in my interview twice. I was asked about it twice, and it was the most uncomfortable thing because I was asked such a broad and open question to just describe the book, and I was just like, where do you want me to start? Like, this book is 400 pages. Like, what do you want me to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read
can't
Bad
remember.
Farmer by Ben Goldacre. I didn't actually finish it, but I read like a lot of it.
Okay.
Intense,
I didn't read any books. It just wasn't me. And I think it's important to be authentic to yourself. Like, if you want to, don't let anyone stop you. Do it. Your passion for the book will come through in the interview. But my passion for a book just wasn't there at the time. So I just didn't do it because it just wasn't me. And you want to be as authentic as you can for interviews. That's what will make you stand out, your uniqueness, because everyone's doing the same thing. Everyone is doing the same prep. So make sure that you're you in any way possible.
And if you're not authentic, the admissions tutors will see right through you. Like, I'm not even joking. These people have been trained for years and years to spot when people are being fake or have like pre-prepared an answer in the interview or like are not being authentic. So it's in your best interest to just be yourself.
Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely.
And they will ask a question that you're not ready for. Like, they will. There's going to be at least one question you're not ready for. So if you're just banking on the fact that you've got like answers in your head ready to, splurge out when you're asked, they're going to figure out and you're just going to freeze. So be ready for anything, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Next question sent in by Lol Hello. Girl, you're sending in the questions. Absolutely love the energy. And they ask, how did you know that medicine was right for you?
My story is so it's so movie. Like, it's not cliche. Like, it's not like when I was 5 I knew, but I didn't want to do medicine at first. It was an up and down thing for me. I was like, I kind of want to do business, but I like children, but that doesn't mean I should do medicine because I like children. And because I didn't have A-level chemistry and I thought I couldn't get in, I was kind of forcing myself to not like medicine. And then I went to an event with Hazal called the National Medical Conference at King's, and that's actually where we met our good friend Jess Olo. And yes, I went there and it was like, the more you experience, the more it starts to kind of, it comes to you, if that makes sense. That's how it came to me. So yeah, I went to an event and it clicked for me that medicine is what I should be doing.
Amazing. And how about yourself, Hazal?
Yeah, I think I was someone who always said, like, I want to be a doctor. But like when I read, because I feel like being a doctor is different from studying medicine, because when you're studying medicine, you're like almost like studying to be that doctor, but it's not just, you're not just learning how to treat persons. There's like people, there's like science, and there's a lot that comes with medicine. It's not just I want to be a doctor. So I think I didn't really have a moment where it just clicked. Like Lily said, I didn't really sit there and be like, Eureka, I'm going to be a doctor. Like, it was more like gradual. Like Lily said, we attended that event. They said so many events. I don't count, but we attended like so many events. And I think one thing that really made it click for me, I feel like it's so cliche, but was like my work experience in the hospital. I just felt so cool. Like, I was just like in a room with the doctors, and like there was a patient in the room, like, and I was there, and I was just like, this is so cool. Like, I want to do this. And then I think that's when I was like, yeah, I want to be a doctor. But I think the best way to figure it out for yourself is just expose yourself as much as possible. That doesn't mean get clinical work experience, because I know it's so hard to get, especially with COVID. But watch YouTube videos, watch virtual stuff. There's so many social media, see people you're seeing, and go to conferences, talk to doctors, and see if that's the lifestyle you want to enter. Yeah, I feel like you can't really tell if it's for you without going out of your way to attend stuff and put yourself in an environment you will be in a couple of years to come.
Thank you so much, Hazal. And I think halfway in between you speaking, you broke off a little bit, but we managed to catch like the majority of what you were saying, and you were dashing some pearls of wisdom there. And it's like so important, exactly as you said, to just stick to, like, be true to who you are, especially if you find yourself in that situation where the reason why you want to do medicine is, the standard, I want to help people, I like science, because it'd be a bit weird if you wanted to do medicine and didn't want to help people and didn't like science. And if you don't have another reason, don't try and force it. Don't try and come up with a personal story, because again, as we've said throughout this live stream, it's so important that you're being authentic to who you are, and part of that is going to be in your personal statement. With me, my story to medicine was quite unconventional because I originally wanted to do chemistry. I've always been a chemistry nerd, you know, organic chemistry, mechanisms. That was my thing. That was my thing. That was my thing. So I thought, okay, right, drawing these mechanisms with my pen and paper, it's going to be the exact same at university. No, I was met with the shock of my life. I did a summer school at Oxford, and tell me why I was spending 5 hours in the lab mixing chemicals around. I mean, I had fun, but for me, 5 hours in a lab mixing chemicals, it was around 30 degrees heat. It just wasn't my scene. And to add to that, I didn't realize that chemistry at university would also constitute a lot of quantum mechanics, which is overlapping with physics. So I was learning about wave functions. I was learning about Schrodinger and his cats, even though I thought I just signed up to do mechanisms all day. So I guess the aim of my story is to just showcase the importance of researching, try to gain as much insight into what a degree in that subject, what a degree in medicine actually constitutes, because a lot of the time what you think may not necessarily correlate with reality. For chemistry is quite different because you actually do the subject at A level, so you're probably more likely to know what a degree in chemistry would look like. For medicine, very different because you don't do medicine as an A level, so it will require a lot of research on your behalf. And fortunately or unfortunately, med schools will require a lot of work experience. This year is exceptional because obviously with COVID, a lot of the placements were cancelled. But under normal circumstances, they will require you to have demonstrated that you've tried to gain an insight into what it actually means to work within the NHS, what it actually means to have a career in medicine, what it actually means to do 6 years of med school to the best of your abilities. So yeah, I guess what consolidated me wanting to do medicine was definitely work experiences and watching YouTubers and just doing all this research here and there. But yeah, that was kind of my story. Cool, I guess we'll move on to the next question. Sent in... Hazal, were you saying something? Sorry.
I said I can't believe you like chemistry.
What do you mean, man? What do you mean?
Chemistry is nice.
Yeah, it is.
Like... Oh...
Chemistry is very... I don't know. There was just something satisfying because... The thing is with chemistry, like maths, you don't need to learn every single equation for the mechanisms. If you know how one works, you know how all of them work. So I guess I'm just like a lazy scientist. I like when I just need to learn one rule and I can apply it to the rest of things.
Relate. I didn't do chemistry. Can't relate.
Can't relate.
So lucky. Jackie got anyway. Next question.
This is also sent in by lol hello. Oh no, okay. Oh, I've skipped some questions. We'll return back to them. Right. I've skipped some questions, but we'll return back to them. This one sent in was how to deal with competition in med school, or even competition getting to med school. This is really, really important because I think, especially in this day and age, mental health is being talked about a lot more and more. And this definitely, like, the whole competitive nature of getting into med school definitely did have its toll on my mental health. So yeah, guys, kind of how did you deal with the competitive nature of getting to med school and also at med school?
I think it is hard when applying to med school to not like recognize that you're up against so many people, because it is a competition, so many people, and it can get to you kind of thing. But what I did is I literally made a mental and physical bubble. Like in my sixth form, everybody was applying to medicine. I just made sure I kept to myself. So I didn't move like a snake, like kind of have a resource and maybe lie to other people that, you know, about it. Definitely not, even though there were a lot of people in my sixth form that moved like that. I just kept to myself. Whatever I was doing was between me and like my close friends, but I never like publicized it to the whole sixth form just because they wouldn't do the same for me. So I think it's important to keep yourself in a bubble. It's protection for you and even your mental health, because if you're always comparing yourself to others, it can actually inhibit your own potential and your own capabilities. So I just acted like it was just me and the admissions officers. I didn't care about what others were doing. I didn't care about what experience this person got, that experience that person got. People tell you, oh, I went to America to get work experience. It doesn't matter. Even if I shadowed a GP for one day, it's about what I learned. It's about me as a person. So I just made sure to put myself in a bubble and to not care about what other people were doing in medical school. Same method. I keep to myself and what I want to do for me. And it's important to make sure that your only competition is yourself. You need the same mentality in everything you do as a content creator, as a medical student, regardless of what you're doing. You need to make sure that you're comparing yourself to yourself and that your only competition is you. Because if you pay attention to what others around you are doing, it will kind of sway your direction and sway your vision. So yeah, definitely don't fall into that competition trap, because it will inhibit your progression.
Wow, such a queen, man. So well said. And 100% agree. I found that with me, when I was in a state of comparing myself to another person, that was the state that I was most unhappiest. And I'd always ask myself, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling so down? Why am I feeling such imposter syndrome? It's because I was literally comparing my outcomes, my success, everything to another person. And I think it's so important in this day and age with social media and everything, is that a lot of the things that you see online on your phone are artificially created, and they're created in a way to display only the highlights of a person's life as opposed to the whole image. Like, I'm guilty of doing it, Lily's probably guilty of doing it, although we try our best to be transparent. Like, it's not every day that we'll be showcasing the low points in our life, because there's a certain amount of almost positivity that you want to maintain. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that you don't know what another person's going through. In order to get that A star in that particular subject, you don't know the amount of hours that they've had to sacrifice, the friendships that they've had to sacrifice. So it's so important that you understand that from your perspective, it may look like they have it all together, but it might not be the case. And another thing with competition is, in life, there's always going to be someone, I'm just being real here, there's always going to be someone who's better than you, who's going to get a better grade than you, more competent than you, faster than you, more subscribers, followers than you. But there's also going to be people who are going to be on the other end, who are going to be less smarter than you, have less subscribers. You're always going to be on a spectrum. And if you consistently go through life comparing yourself to another person, looking forward, you miss out on opportunities to be grateful as to the achievements that you've achieved so far. Like, I just deeped this the other day when someone was telling me, like, where we are right now in med school, Liddy and Hazal, is where we were praying to be in a couple of years back. Like, we were looking forward to be at this place. But because we could be so preoccupied with comparing ourselves with other people, we don't realize that we're actually where we aimed to be. Like, we've reached our goals, and we need to take time to actually appreciate our success. And in that way, I think it's going to be a lot better for your mental health when you've maintained a really good balance of just appreciating your success and where you've got to.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can't see you, but we'll just listen to your voice.
And it's
yeah, I want to add, I feel like as medics especially, we're like always success hungry. So like we always want more and more and more and more, and I feel like we're never like satisfied with what we've got, and that can be a very good trait but also a very bad trait. Obviously you always want to keep pushing yourself forward and aiming higher, you know, all of that stuff, but it's also important to stop and appreciate, like I was saying, I wish to be where I am right now, and now I'm complaining because I'm not where I want to be in 6 months' time, but maybe I'll get there in 6 months' time. Like, I think sometimes you can be impatient and we just want it immediately, but I think we just need to realize that, you know, be appreciative, be happy and appreciate where you are, but also aim high. So it's just in moderation. Everything's in moderation.
Definitely. Words. Well said, guys. Moving on to the next question. And Hazal, like, we still can't see, but it's okay. We'll make do with what we have. It's just like a floating voice, you know, like Wizard of Odd vibes, where Dorothy gets to the magic place and the wizard's voice is just floating in the air. But we move. Next question. Next question sent in by Mandy asks, what academic competitions do you recommend to do before medicine to look good on your personal statement? Now, again, another plug for my sisters over here is that these girls have launched 2 virtual competitions over the space of lockdown called virtual science fairs. They did first one, second one. I had the privilege of being a judge on both of them, but it's opportunities like that where first of all, it was free of charge. Second of all, even if you don't win, can look so good on your personal statement. Even if you don't include it in your personal statement, to mention it in interview, because not only does it display proactiveness, but it shows that you've taken a bad situation of being in lockdown and still managed to find some good in it and transformed it into something worthwhile and productive and like successful. Guys, are you aware of any like other competitions that people can do virtually?
At the moment, no. I would suggest maybe looking into whether your school provides an Olympiad, because we did an Olympiad and that was quite useful to have in a personal statement. And we're definitely planning to host a virtual science fair next year. So just keep an eye out on social media for so many events to constantly search, especially Eventbrite. I would strongly suggest Eventbrite because it's honestly so useful. So yeah, definitely try it out.
But also to add to that, remember that, guys, you can have all the essay competitions and all the like prizes you want, but if like your A-levels don't meet the requirements, you're not even going to get to past it, like to the interview. So it's important to always focus on your A-levels and like Ucat and stuff like that are extras that come after. I just don't want people to go out of their way to focus on those and then forget the actual importance because of like the A-levels and stuff like that, because I think people can feel like they need something to make themselves stand out. But of course you want to stand out, but also you don't want to be on the other spectrum where you're not even considered. So make sure you use your time efficiently.
Yeah, 100%. It's so easy to get carried away with the whole applying to university that you actually forget that you need grades to get into university, even if you've got your offers in the end. So make sure you're balancing the two, I guess. Next question sent in by Lol Hello, and I think this is more about interview tips. So how to look really good in interview. So I guess what kind of interviews did you guys have? Like traditional MMI?
Yeah, I did both MMI and panel. MMI. Because we can't hear you, you're muted.
Oh damn, yeah. I had MMI panel and I had like an Oxford one as well, so I feel like I experienced all three types.
Yeah, same here.
I felt English. Wow. So like not plug ourselves, but we've made like in-depth videos on like tips for interviews on our panel, just because we can't get all the tips out right now. But my best advice would just be to prepare. Don't go into an interview without any preparation, and know your personal statement inside out.
Yeah.
And know why you want to go to that specific university, and be yourself.
Yeah,
that is so cool. But just yourself, because when you're in a room like in a stressful environment, you can't rely on previous knowledge because you might forget that. So you just need to trust your ability to just talk on demand and talk about something you're passionate about on demand. So don't force anything. And that's why when people go into medicine when they don't actually want to do medicine, it's difficult to talk about something you're not passionate about when you're in a stressful environment. So just stop. Like if you've got a question wrong or you're stuttering, just stop, breathe, and let your guide your talking without thinking about hitting those keywords and hitting those ethical pillars or whatever. Just talk and your authenticity will come through.
Definitely.
100%. And yeah, that's such a real thing that you mentioned, Hazal, about how like within the interview stressful environment, all the pre-knowledge that you may have rehearsed 30 minutes beforehand, you just forget because of the stress. And that's like a natural effect of cortisol levels rising. And it's so true how like sorry, just had to sprinkle some of that science in. But yeah, I guess it's so important to also practice as well, because that's how you build up the skills that you will subconsciously have in those environments where you're so stressed that you forget everything that you've rehearsed. You'll fall back on those skills that you've built up over time. And for me, the practice came from just sitting in front of a mirror, talking to myself, practicing my body language, forcing my mum to sit in the living room and listen to me speak about my personal statement and stuff, going to school, and whilst other people may have been messing around in free periods, using my time productively and talking to the other students who had interviews and just speaking to them about everything and anything. You need to practice communication. One thing with medicine is that not only will it make you stand out in your interview if your communication is crystal clear, but also it's a skill that's being looked for in doctors as well. And also you feel more confident when you're able to communicate yourself more confidently. I just say just waffle. Okay, let me not say that. Just waffle. You want to be able to waffle, but not too much. You also want to be able to know when enough is enough. There was one point in my interview where I was just talking and talking and talking, and the interviewer was making me feel really nervous, so I just carried on talking, and he actually just interrupted me. And it's actually
I hate when
it's the worst thing being interrupted. Like, it could actually just bash your confidence.
Yeah, I felt it. Yeah, 100%. It does. It does.
Yeah, but guys, being able to like professionally waffle is a skill that you build up through practice, and something I recommend is having someone to keep you accountable. So, good old Lily. Obviously, she was at my sixth form, so we were like every morning we're going to have a practice interview together, whether it's 10 minutes, whatever, and we recorded every single one.
Every morning.
And they're still on my phone. Sometimes, like, I remember I went back and nearly every morning we would have a practice interview session. She would mark me and I would mark her, and there was none of this like being easy on each other. I'd be like, Liddy, you're saying too much, you're saying lag too much, you're blinking, you're touching your ear, and stuff like this. It helps you get rid of stuff that you're not aware of, like unconscious stuff. Like, I never knew I touched my hair until I rewatched all of our YouTube videos, and I do it like 700 times in one video. But you don't realize stuff like this, and your friends are there to tell you, and they don't have to be medics. Some of my friends that work medics, sometimes it's actually better, because when they're not a medic, they almost don't know what to look out for. So I think it's almost better sometimes. But yeah, just get people to watch you talk basically and tell them what you can improve on.
Wow, I wish I had friends like you guys, man. Oh, you guys actually goals. Man said every single morning doing interview prep. To be fair, it paid off, because look where you are now, and you're absolutely killing the game in giving admissions tips and tricks. Next question sent in by Imran, and this one's for you guys, because I can't really relate to this one. He's asking, should I stay at home or live in university accommodation? And another plug for you guys, can't plug you enough, but honestly, they filmed a video about commuting versus living in halls, university halls. So if you want more details, definitely just everybody, just right now, write on your hand to check their channel out. But after this live stream, but yeah, what's your opinion on this, guys?
I think even though I personally, commuting suits me personally, just because I'm generally just quite a family oriented person. I like being around my family, and I don't really like being far from them for too long. So I think I'd get homesick too regularly if I was in accommodation. However, in saying that, I feel like for most people, accommodation is better because of the freedom and the independence. It's really nice to have as a young adult, like, who doesn't want a bit of freedom and independence. And also, I feel like a lot of events held at university are more catered towards students living out. So I do think living out is better than commuting, but my personal preference is commuting, just because I know myself and just how homesick I'd get.
What about you, Hazal?
Yeah, so I lived out for first year, and for second year I'm living at home, and dreading staying at home, just because I got used to the lifestyle in accommodation. Just the freedom to like do what you want when you want. Like, I could go to McDonald's at like 2 a.m. and no one could say no. But I guess I've lived a life, and now I have to come back to my humble settings. But I would say for like majority of university students, accommodation lifestyle is better for like social life as well, because you can talk to people in your accommodation, go to like events and societies together and stuff. But yeah, also like Liddy said as well, if you're someone who gets homesick and you just want to see your parents and your family and your siblings, then that's something you might want to consider as well.
Yeah.
Cool, really good answers. I hope that's been helpful and answered your question, Imran. Next question sent in asks, what are tutorials like? And before I answer this, question to Liddy and Hazal, do you guys have like tutorials or seminars, mini seminars at Barts and The London?
So we on that fancy. We have lectures.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't have seminars?
Standard. I don't know what that is.
You don't have seminars. Okay, right. I thought seminars was like a university-wide thing. Like all universities do seminars. You probably call them something else, like small group sessions.
We have PBLs.
It's not like I don't know. It takes different forms. So for me, at Oxford, like we have our lectures, which is basically all the medics first year in a hall with a lecturer, standard 1 hour. Then we have smaller group lectures almost called seminars, where we have one lecturer at the front speaking through a concept in more detail. And because there's less of you, you're then able to ask questions a lot more, because in lectures you can't really ask questions because there's hundreds of you. And we have these form of seminars where it's a bit like PBL, where we're given a case. So the tutor or the lecturer will say, okay, so there's a 23-year-old presenting with chest pains. There's no history of angina. There's no history of like high blood pressure. And you have to work it out based on the knowledge that you've had in your lectures. And then we have even smaller groups called tutorials, which are college-based almost systems, where you'll be assigned a tutor who is from your college, and your tutorial groups will be 2 or 3 student big, and essentially that's a really kind of almost intimate session where you're literally directly speaking to your tutor, and it's a lot more personalized in the learning style. And for me, first year tutorials were so intense, because if you don't know your content, you can't hide behind the 20 other students, because there's just 2 of you. And if your tutorial partner is ill or something and you're by yourself, or there's just 2 of you, it's like you have to know your stuff, because you'll be in your tutorial for an hour long. Do you have an equivalent? We don't really do PBL. You guys do PBL, so I guess you can speak a bit more about that. What's PBL like?
So PBL are problem-based scenarios, and it's like small teaching group learning. I like it because it's a small group of people, and me and my PBL group got on really well, so it's a nice place to make friends as well. The only downfall to it is different groups learn different things. It's all based on research, so I don't think there's enough guidance on what research you should be doing or should not be doing. So that's just my take on it. What about you, Hazal?
I think I enjoyed PBLs because it was at the start I really hated them, because I felt stupid and I felt dumb. But then I realized if I actually do my research properly and wasn't crazy, then it was a good way for me to test my knowledge, and it really did help me build my confidence, like talking about my medical knowledge and trusting myself that I know the right things. Because at the start I was like, I'm gonna be silent, not talking, I don't care, because I don't want to get it wrong. And it was like that whole embarrassment thing that I feel like a lot of people have in A-levels. But once I got out of that habit, I was like, do you know what? If I say something wrong, like it's actually something wrong, there's not much more I can do. I can just learn the right thing. But that's why I really enjoy them, because I don't think I've ever asked a question in a lecture, and I don't think I ever will. In front of 350 people is too much for my liking.
Like, sir, I have a question on what you said. Could you clarify, please? I just don't have confidence. I can't. But that's why I really enjoy our PBRs, because it's a time where I can consolidate my knowledge outside of a lecture with like someone who knows what they're talking about.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm a bit jealous now. To be fair, at Oxford we don't typically have PBLs, but some of the tutors, they can choose to turn the tutorials into PBL sessions. So I had a taste of PBL last year, and it was so strange because you have a couple of sessions on the same case. First session, you were just given a piece of text explaining about this woman. Her name was Margaret. She has this special type of anemia. She has XYZ, whatever. And then you go away and you do research. You organize independent sessions where you can go talk about the PBL session together amongst like the medics. And then the next PBL session, you come back and deliver that information to your tutor. Guys, because we've already reached the 1 hour mark, I guess we're about to end, or we're close to ending the live stream. And before we answer the last question that I've picked out from the bunch of amazing questions, I'd just like to say to everyone in the comment section, if we haven't answered your question, either all the Journey2Med girls have made a video on the topic. I'm reading through some of the questions now, and I'm just thinking, like, off the top of my head, the Journey2Med video, so definitely check them out. Or if you want more personalized kind of advice, maybe message us on Instagram. Again, details down below, and we'll try our best to get back to you. But the final question for today, sent in by Mr. Warlock, asks, so far, what was the most challenging aspect of med school for you? Bam! That's a good question to end off with, isn't it?
Finding a revision method. I'm still struggling. But definitely that.
Hazal, what about you?
I think it's gonna have to be the same one. I just don't know how to revise in med school. I was having another like semi breakdown earlier on today, because I was just looking at my notes and I was like, okay, I don't want to do this. So I went on to a different lecture and I was like, okay, I don't want to do this topic. I went into a whole different module, and then I just dropped my books because I was like, right, I don't want to do this anymore. So I think once I find it, I'm actually gonna I'm gonna have for a party, because I need to celebrate that. But I mean, I revise, yes, but finding the one, the one, it's like finding your soulmate, like finding the one that's good for you is like, but yeah, maybe one day.
Now, the way you spoke about that, Hazal, with so much passion, like I actually felt that in my soul, like right here, my left ventricle. I felt it in my soul. But yeah, mine is the exact same, and it's kind of linked to something else that I've been struggling with in med school, and that's not knowing everything. Hear me out, guys. Hear me out. You come from an environment of A levels where you have a whole specification that is manageable, and you can actually get through it in the time frame that you're allocated. With medical school, you're thrown with loads of information about anatomy, biochemistry, physiology, all of this stuff. And I don't think it's possible for you to know every single detail that's on the course. It's not possible for you to understand and remember every single detail in the lectures. And that's something that I struggled with, because if, for example, as we mentioned before, we were having conversation with the medics and someone mentioned a new drug or a body part that I wasn't aware of, that would instantly send me into a frenzy, or it will send me into anxiety because I didn't know about it. Whereas at A level, I knew you knew that if you needed any information about anything, you can go to Fran, and it's something I struggled with, but it's definitely humbled me. And again, it's been character building. Because it's preparing me for actual practice, where you're not going to know everything. You're going to have to go back and constantly relearn stuff. You're going to specialize in an area and maybe be less accustomed to other specialities when you're a doctor. Do you know what? The strangest thing has just happened. So Liddy's camera's turned off and Hazal, yours has came back. I think it's just my software. But yeah, that's kind of my answer. And I guess we've reached the end of the live stream. It's such a shame that all of your faces can't be on like the screen at the same time. But yeah, both to Liddy and Hazal, it's just been a pleasure having you on my channel. And I bet everyone else watching this right now can probably say you guys are amazing, doing amazing things, and you gave like the top tip advice. So yeah, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to live stream with me today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. This was amazing.
Yeah.
You know we love you, Fran, so anything would be good.
Honestly, it's so bad. No, carry on.
And I hope everyone enjoyed our answers. And like Fran said, if there's anything we didn't get to because of the time limit, check Fran's Instagram and YouTube. Check ours. If you still can't find the answer, then just DM us.
Yes, exactly.
Get back to you guys.
Honestly, the internet is an oyster, a pearl of resources, and yeah, we'll try our best to get back to you. And yeah, thank you guys for everyone watching as well. Like, the engagement has been mad. I've never seen a comment section this riled up, and people were having conversations between themselves. I was just like, yes, I love this. I love this energy. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching this live stream, and I hope you all have a fantastic end to your Wednesday and a lovely rest to your week. And I guess we'll see you guys in the next live stream. Bye.